Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, we're diving into a moment that could change everything Mother Ly can't reach Mrs. Tu. The house papers may be at risk, and Jack's family is about to discover a truth they never expected. If you enjoy this story, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next episodes. The days after the sweet potato harvest feel soft, almost unreal, like the whole world finally decided to breathe with them for once. Jack wakes up early, checks on the fence posts they built last week, and watches Tu Tien move around the kitchen with that calmer rhythm he missed so much. Even little Anna seems lighter lately. She's eating better, sleeping deeper, and waking up with that sleepy smile that makes the house feel warm before the sun even rises. For a few mornings in a row, Jack lets himself believe this is what peace looks like. But in the middle of that peace, there's one thing that doesn't settle. Mother Ly. It starts with small signs. Her voice on the phone isn't as steady. Her laughter is shorter. When she visits, she sits down like her shoulders are carrying a bag of stones. She tries to act normal, but her hands keep drifting to her phone, checking, dialing, checking again. Tu Tien notices first. One afternoon, she's rinsing vegetables at the sink, while Anna sits at her feet, stacking plastic cups. Jack is outside tightening a loose wire on the garden fence. Tu Tien's phone buzzes, and she sees Mother Ly's name. She answers immediately. "Mum, are you okay?" There's a pause. Then Mother Ly speaks too quickly, like she's trying to outrun her own worry. "I'm fine. I can't reach Mrs. Thursday." Tu Tien's heart sinks a little. Still, Mother Ly says. "I tried calling this morning, then again at noon. Her phone is off, or maybe she blocked me. I don't know." Tu Tien keeps her voice gentle. "Maybe she's traveling, or her phone is broken. I went to sleep last night thinking I was overreacting," Mother Ly admits. "Then I woke up and my chest felt tight. My head keeps spinning. I feel like I can't swallow properly." Tu Tien grips the edge of the counter. "Please sit down and breathe. Don't scare yourself." Mother Ly exhales shakily. "I didn't want to tell you, but Dung is worried too. He said it doesn't feel right." Tu Tien hears the fear hiding under her mother-in-law's words. It's the kind of fear that doesn't come from imagination. It comes from instinct. Before Tu Tien can answer, Anna waddles up and tugs her pant leg. She wants to be picked up, right now, no questions. Tu Tien lifts her with one arm and steadies the phone with the other. "Mom," she says, "please don't stay alone with this feeling. I'll tell Jack as soon as he comes inside." There's another pause. "Don't make him panic," Mother Ly whispers. "He already carries enough." Tu Tien looks down at Anna's round cheeks pressed into her shoulder. He's family. He has the right to know. That evening, right before sunset, Uncle Dung calls Jack directly. Jack answers while wiping his hands with a towel, still smelling faintly of soil and wire. Tu Tien is nearby, feeding Anna a small bowl of mashed banana. "Uncle," Jack says, "is everything okay?" Uncle Dung doesn't waste time. "Come over for dinner," he says. "Both of you. Bring Anna too. We need to talk in person." Jack's stomach tightens. "Is it about Mom?" "Yes," Uncle Dung says. "And it's not something we should say over the phone." Jack glances at Tu Tien. She's already looking at him, her expression alert, like she felt the shift before it happened. "We'll come," Jack says. "Give us an hour." When they arrive at Mother Ly's house, the lights are on, but the atmosphere doesn't feel warm the way it used to. It feels like the house is holding its breath. Mother Ly opens the door and tries to smile. It's a brave smile, but it doesn't reach her eyes. Anna runs in first like she owns the place, toddling toward the living room, drawn by familiar toys. Tu Tien follows her, and Jack steps in last, already scanning faces, already reading what words aren't being said. Uncle Dung is standing near the kitchen table. He looks calm, but his jaw is set. "Sit," he tells Jack. Jack sits. Tu Tien sits beside him. Mother Ly stays standing for a moment, like sitting down would make the situation too real. Uncle Dung speaks carefully, like he's placing fragile plates on a shelf. Your mom has been trying to contact Mrs. Thu to withdraw the money, he says. No answer, no return call, nothing. Jack leans forward. How long? Mother Loy finally sits. Her hands are clasped so tightly her fingers look pale. Almost a week, she says. I told myself she was just busy, that she would respond any day. But now I can't sleep. I feel sick. Jack's throat feels dry. Did you go to her house? Uncle Dung nods. Not yet. We wanted you here first because this involves you too. Tu Tien's voice stays soft. Mum, how much money are we talking about? Mother Loy flinches like the number itself hurts. It's everything, she says. I used the house paperwork as collateral. I thought it was safe. Mrs. Thu promised it was just temporary. 1 month, then profit. She said she knew people. She said it was guaranteed. Jack goes very still. For a moment, Tu Tien can hear the clock on the wall. She can hear Anna laughing somewhere down the hallway, completely unaware of anything. Jack speaks slowly, like every word costs him. Mum, why didn't you tell me sooner? Mother Loy's eyes fill. Because I did it for you, she says, voice breaking. I wanted you to have backup money. I wanted you to stop struggling. I wanted to help and not feel useless. Uncle Dung reaches over and puts a steadying hand on her shoulder. Jack doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't blame her. But the pain in his expression is sharp. You didn't have to risk your home for me, he says quietly. I know, she whispers. Now I know. Tu Tien reaches for Mother Loy's hand. We're here now. We'll figure it out together. Jack stands. Let's go to Mrs. Thu's house tonight. Uncle Dung nods. That's what I was going to suggest. Mother Loy looks terrified. What if she really ran? Jack keeps his voice firm but gentle. Then we stop guessing. We go see with our own eyes. They leave Anna with Uncle Dung for a short time, just long enough to go check. Anna protests, of course, clinging to Tu Tien's leg and whining. But Tu Tien crouches and kisses her forehead. We'll be back soon, she promises. Stay with Grandpa Dung. Anna doesn't like it, but Uncle Dung distracts her with a toy and a small snack. It buys them a window. Jack drives. Tu Tien sits beside him. Mother Loy sits in the back seat, silent, staring at her phone like she's hoping it will suddenly ring and erase the fear. They arrive at Mrs. Thu's place, and the first thing Jack notices is the gate. Locked. The house is dark. No porch light. No sound. Jack walks to the door and knocks. Once, twice, harder. The third time. Nothing. Tu Tien tries the door handle anyway, even though she knows it won't open. It doesn't. Mother Loy's breathing starts to sound thin. She's probably inside, she whispers, like saying it might make it true. Jack steps back and looks around. He goes to the neighbor's house and knocks. A middle-aged woman answers, wary at first, then confused when she hears the name. Mrs. Thu? The neighbor repeats. I haven't seen her. Jack keeps his tone polite. Do you know where she went? The neighbor shakes her head. No. Honestly, it's been days, maybe a week. Her place has been quiet. Tu Tien feels Mother Loy sway slightly behind her. She turns quickly and catches her elbow. Mother Loy's eyes are wide. A week, she whispers. A whole week. Jack asks the neighbor one more question, voice tight. Did she move things out? Any trucks? Any relatives? The neighbor hesitates. I saw a car once at night, but I didn't think anything of it. I'm sorry. Jack thanks her anyway and walks back to the gate. Mother Loy stands frozen, staring at the dark house like it's a cliff edge. It's true, she says softly. She's gone. Jack's voice turns steady, decisive. We're going to the police station. Tonight. Tu Tien nods, holding Mother Loy's hand tighter. Mother Loy looks like she might collapse under the weight of what she's realizing. If she took the money. She whispers, barely audible. Does that mean I could lose the house? No one answers right away, because the truth is too heavy to say out loud. But Jack does not let the silence swallow them. We'll report it, he says. We'll get help. And no matter what happens, you won't face it alone. Tu Tien squeezes Mother Loy's hand. We'll protect you, Mum, one step at a time. They turn back to the car, night air cold against their faces, knowing something has just changed again. And somewhere in Jack's pocket, his phone buzzes quietly with a notification he hasn't checked yet, like the world is already preparing the next wave. They pick Anna up from Uncle Dung's house first. The moment Jack steps through the door, Anna runs to him with both arms lifted, demanding to be carried like she's been waiting forever. Jack scoops her up and presses his cheek to her hair, breathing her in like a reset button. For a second, the panic in his chest loosens. Uncle Dung watches him closely. How was it? Jack doesn't pretend. The house is locked. Neighbors haven't seen her for about a week. Mother Loy stands behind Jack, eyes red, trying to hold herself together in front of Anna. She forces a smile that wobbles at the edges. Tu Tien walks over and adjusts Anna's little jacket. We're going to the police station now, okay? Just to report everything. Uncle Dung nods once, firm. Good. No more waiting. They all get back into the car. Jack drives slower than usual, careful on the corners. Tu Tien sits in the front seat, with Anna strapped in behind her, humming softly to keep the child calm. Mother Loy sits beside Uncle Dung, staring out the window like the road might explain what happened if she looks long enough. At the police station, the lights are bright and flat, the kind of lighting that makes every worry look sharper. Jack carries Anna inside because she's getting sleepy again. Tu Tien stays close to Mother Loy, one hand lightly supporting her elbow, just in case her legs decide to give out. A young officer at the front desk asks for names and details. Jack answers clearly. The way he does in meetings, structured, calm, like control, is something you can build with words. But Tu Tien notices his jaw. It's locked tight. They're told to wait a few minutes. Anna dozes off on Jack's shoulder, her small hand curled around his shirt. Jack doesn't move. He just keeps holding her like he's afraid the world will snatch something else away if he loosens his grip. Mother Loy whispers, barely audible, I did this to help him. Tu Tien turns toward her. You did it because you love him. That's not a crime. The person who lied to you is the problem. Mother Loy shakes her head, eyes filling again. But the house, if the paperwork is involved. Uncle Dung leans closer. His voice is low, steady. We don't solve it by collapsing. We solve it step by step. A door opens down the hallway, and a familiar figure walks out. Officer Thursday. She looks tired, but her eyes are sharp. When she sees Jack, she stops for a beat, like she's calculating how many storms this family has already survived. Jack, she says, then glances at Tu Tien and Mother Loy. Come with me. They follow her into a small office. Officer Thu offers chairs. Jack keeps Anna on his lap. Tu Tien sits beside Jack. Mother Loy sits slowly, as if her body is deciding whether it wants to stay upright. Officer Thu opens a file and clicks a pen. Tell me everything, from the beginning, calmly. Jack starts. He explains how Mother Loy met Mrs. Thu again, how the promise sounded safe, how it was supposed to be a short-term investment, how Mother Loy tried to withdraw the money and couldn't reach her. Mother Loy speaks next, voice shaking. She told me it was guaranteed. She said she had people in the south. She said she could double it fast. I believed her. Officer Thu's expression doesn't change, but her eyes narrow slightly. Do you have any written agreement? Messages? Bank transfers? Anything that shows the amount and the arrangement? Mother Loy nods quickly. I have call logs. I have messages. I transferred part of it, and part was cash. She also asked for the paperwork as collateral. She said it was only temporary. Jack's stomach turns again at the word collateral. Officer Thu writes it down. We'll take copies of everything you have. We'll open a report for suspected fraud. The sooner we gather evidence, the better. Tu Tien leans forward. If the paperwork was used, can she lose the house? Officer Thu pauses, careful with her words. It depends on what was signed and who it was given to. That's why documents matter. We need to see exactly what happened, but reporting now is the right move. Mother Loy's hands tremble. So it really could be a scam. Officer Thu looks at her directly. Yes, it could be. The word lands in the room like something heavy dropped onto a table. Jack inhales slowly. What do we do next? Officer Thu speaks like someone used to building a plan from chaos. First, we collect your evidence tonight. Second, tomorrow morning, we send an officer to verify the address again and speak with more neighbors. Third, we check whether Mrs. Thu has any recent travel records or new registrations. If she's truly gone, we'll attempt to trace her movements. Jack nods, absorbing every detail. Then Officer Thu's phone vibrates on her desk. She glances at the screen, and for the first time her calm shifts. Give me a second, she says, stepping out. Jack watches her leave and feels a familiar knot tighten in his chest again. It's the same feeling he had during the warehouse fire. The same feeling he had at the hospital when people whispered about suspicious faces near the gate. Tu Tien notices his expression. She touches his arm gently. Stay with us, right here. Jack forces a small nod. I am. Officer Thu returns a moment later. Her tone is controlled, but there's urgency behind it. We'll handle your report, she says, but I need you to keep your phones on tonight. There are still active threads connected to your previous case. If anything unusual happens, calls, strangers, anyone asking questions, you contact me immediately. Jack's eyes flick up. Is this about the warehouse suspects? Officer Thu doesn't answer directly. Just be careful, and don't go anywhere alone late at night. Tu Tien feels cold creep up her arms. Officer Thu finishes taking their evidence, instructs them on what to bring tomorrow, and walks them out. Outside, the night air hits them hard. The world is quiet in that way it gets after a police station visit, like you're stepping back into normal streets, carrying something invisible and heavy. On the drive home, Anna wakes up and asks for water. Tu Tien hands her the bottle and watches her sip with both hands, peaceful and trusting. That small, ordinary act almost breaks Tu Tien's heart, because kids don't understand how fast a life can tilt. When they arrive at Mother Loy's house, Uncle Dung insists they all eat something, even if it's just hot rice and soup. He moves around the kitchen like a man trying to rebuild stability with a ladle. Mother Loy sits at the table, staring at her phone again. Jack gently takes the phone from her hands and sets it face down. Mum, he says quietly, look at me. She looks up, eyes watery and ashamed. Jack keeps his voice soft. You are not alone. That house is not just walls, it's family. If we have to fight for it, we will. Together. Mother Loy's lips tremble. I was so proud when you started building your company. I wanted to add something, anything, so you wouldn't struggle. Jack's throat tightens. I never asked you to carry my burdens. I know, she whispers. That's why I did it quietly. Tu Tien reaches across the table and holds her hand. Quiet sacrifices can still hurt. Next time, we carry things out loud, together. Mother Loy nods, tears sliding down her cheeks. After dinner, Jack walks Tu Tien and Anna back to their house. He wants Mother Loy to rest, but he also doesn't want to leave her alone with her thoughts, so he promises he'll be back early in the morning. As they drive away, Tu Tien looks at Jack's profile. He's calm on the outside, but she can feel the tension in every movement of his hands on the steering wheel. You did good tonight, she says. Jack doesn't look away from the road. I keep thinking, if I noticed sooner, if I pushed harder. No, Tu Tien interrupts gently. We can't rewrite what happened. We can only protect what's still here. Jack glances at her. And what's still here is you. Tu Tien's chest warms, but the worry doesn't disappear. It just folds itself into the background, waiting. At home, Jack carries Anna inside and lays her down. She falls asleep quickly, exhausted from the long evening. Tu Tien starts making ginger tea, the simple kind that makes the house smell comforting. Jack sits at the edge of the bed, shoulders finally dropping. For a few minutes, they just listen to the quiet. Then Jack's phone buzzes. He looks at the screen. A message preview appears short, unknown number. Jack doesn't open it right away. He just stares, the way you stare at a closed door when you're not sure what's waiting behind it. Tu Tien notices. "Who is it?" Jack swallows. "I don't know." The phone buzzes again, like it's impatient. Jack finally turns the screen toward himself and opens the message. And whatever it says, his face changes subtly, but enough that Tu Tien's stomach drops. He looks up at her, voice low. "We were right," he says. "Peace never lasts long." And outside, beyond the fence they built together, the night feels suddenly wider, like something has started moving again. Mother Loy becomes increasingly anxious when Mrs. Thu's phone stays unreachable day after day. Uncle Dung calls Jack and Tu Tien to his house, then reveals what Mother Loy has been hiding. She trusted Mrs. Thu with a land investment and even pawned the home paperwork to raise cash, hoping to secure capital for Jack's work. Now the silence feels like a warning. The family rushes to Mrs. Thu's address, but the gate is locked, the house is empty, and neighbors say they haven't seen her for nearly a week. The truth hits like a collapse. Mother Loy's savings and the safety of her home may be at risk. Jack and Tu Tien try to steady her through the panic. Then the family makes a hard decision. They must go to the police immediately and report everything.